Hey guys, how's it going? So, earlier today we got an update from the developers about the state of early access. This is update number 01. This is going to be giving us an overview of the upcoming patch 0.7.5, as well as some discussions about things that they are going to be looking at for later patches. So let's jump into this and take a look, because I think you guys are going to be really excited about some of the things that are coming for Farthest Frontier. One of the first things that they do address is the overwhelming problems that people have been having with performance. I've been seeing it a lot on my Discord server and the Farthest Frontier Discord server, a lot of discussion about performance. So they have acknowledged that. Some of the current performance issues that have been reported and are on the radar, such as hitching when opening UI windows, hitching when desirability overlay is displayed, hitching when buildings are finished, when cows are fenced in, performance degradation at high populations, excessively long load times, and memory use accumulates when restarting maps frequently. So these are problems that they are working on, and they have improvements that they will introduce as they are ready, and they will roll those out to us. The game has been out for, about a little over a week now, just a week and a few days, and we've gotten 2 hotfixes already dealing with some major issues. So they are not shy about releasing hotfixes as soon as they have solutions. So we can expect some fixes for this coming in 0.7.5 and more to come later. Moving down, we are addressing some stuff with the trading post. So first off is and this is the big thing that bothers me, is the notification for the trader coming to your trading post is there. Well, there isn't one. It's literally that you have to see the trader go into the trading post, and there's just a tiny little icon that pops up over top of it. And that's it. That's all the notification is. But luckily, we are getting an actual pop-up notification that will tell you that a trader has arrived at the trading post. So that's going to be really handy, so you know exactly when they're there and you don't miss out on them. In addition, the trade union has paid its dues to the fire brigade, so fires that erupt at the trading post will now get put out properly. That's been a problem that I've seen a lot of people talking about. They are also working on addressing issues such as traders not arriving, them leaving immediately as soon as they get to the trading post, and whenever you upgrade the trading post. There are some issues with upgrading the trading post where if you upgrade it, sometimes the worker that works there will disappear into the void. So that is something that is going to be fixed. Another thing we absolutely want to add during early access is the option to request a resource from the next trader for a premium price. That is actually pretty cool. That makes the trading post something more active, that you can, you can request a good, and the next time a trader comes around, they'll bring that to you. That's really cool. I really like that. Now, one thing they don't mention here that I thought was kind of interesting is they are looking into removing the bottomless pit storage. At the moment, the trading post is actually a bottomless pit. Nothing spoils in it, and you can store however much you want to in that trading post. So that's actually something they have talked about on the forums, that they are looking at fixing and doing away with that and adding some sort of storage cap. So something else to be aware of that they didn't mention here. Now here's a really cool one for many of you who wanted to get into the game but found the game a little too challenging. They are adding a new, even easier map type called Idyllic Valley. It's going to have a ton of resources. The map is teeming with resources of every variety. If you've been looking for a place to settle in the frontier where everything is provided except heavy tools, this should be your go-to selection. It is also the default map type when you select new settlement. So that's going to give us 5 specific map type biomes. There'll be Idyllic Valley, Arid Highlands, Alpine Valleys, Lowland Lakes, and Plains, and then the random one, which just generates a random terrain for you. So pretty cool. In a future update, they are also planning to incorporate difficulty scaling for food spoilage and crop disease. So those playing on Pioneer will have an easier time maintaining their food stores. So that's actually pretty interesting. It looks like they are going to tie those scaling difficulties to Pioneer possibly, and you can't scale them for higher difficulties of Trailblazer and Vanquisher. Interesting notes right there. But again, really cool that they're going to have basically just a sandbox map type where you're going to have everything you want to build the city of your dreams. Now, here's a big one that I have seen a lot of discussion on. More resources. So they have heard the feedback regarding sustainability of towns in the end game. So they are taking some measures, and for starters, they are significantly increasing the resources within mineral deposits. That's a big one. A lot of stone on the map might only have like 10 or 20 stone. It's very, very small. You know, clay deposits might only have like 300 or 400, something like that. And that you just don't get a lot of resources, and those resources were finite. So once you ran out of that stuff on the map, you had to rely on a trader to bring it to you, and that could take a couple of years for a trader to come around that had it. And so that really stymied your late game city development. So more resources, all awesome. Trees are also going to regrow faster and produce more wood. This makes work camps with 2 workers able to chop trees without any additional micromanagement for a long time, if not indefinitely. Full work camps focused on trees will still likely make quick work of a forest, but the assumption there is that you need lots of wood and fast. So that's going to be pretty cool. That's going to give us sustainable wood production from our work camps, and they won't be cutting it down clear cutting a forest, and you have to wait literal decades for the stupid thing to regrow. That's pretty cool. Now, for those hungry for stone, they are adding in the mother of all rocks to the game, the Mega Rock. This behemoth should sate hungry cities for generations. It is, however, just a massive stepping stone to a long-term solution. They have also addressed an issue where some resources, such as herbs and willow, were generating outside the pathway area. I've never seen that, but, you know, hey, cool, good. Glad they're fixing it. Now, here's another big one right here that we have been talking about a lot on Discord, is quarries, mines, and forestry. So they are adding in quarries for stone and deep mines. These will provide infinite amounts of resources. My guess these are tier 3 type buildings, possibly getting into tier 4 stuff. So these are going to give you infinite supplies of resources, so you don't ever have to worry about running out of anything eventually. So that's pretty nice. Now, for wood availability, we've noticed that some of you have resorted to using decor trees to sustain your towns. Yes, that's a thing people do. For the low price of 1 gold, you can place a tree, wait, I think like a year or something, and it gives you like 7 wood or something like that. It's kind of crazy. Or maybe you plant it instantly, chop it down, and it's 4 wood. It's something like that. So people have literally just been spending gold to plant forests to chop them down. So it's a fine workaround, but it's not an enjoyable one. No, it is not. It's actually boring and terrible. So they are discussing solutions for sustainable forests. Ultimately, we want there to be a way to maintain forests on the map without requiring so much player micromanagement. And as you can see right here, there's a little picture of what looks like some sort of a forester hut of some kind. So that's actually something that I was surprised the game did not have when I first started playing it, because all games like this have a forester, and it didn't have one, and it surprised me. But it looks like they're probably going to add something similar, so that's pretty cool. So moving on down to spiritual buildings, this was actually part of a discussion that they had about, people were asking why there was not like a church or something. So a popular request is churches. You may have already read some of our thoughts on this one, but ultimately the initial implementation of spiritual buildings has come down to development time. If they do spiritual buildings, they think it should come with some sort of mechanic and not just be entertainment or desirability option. They don't want it to just be a building you plop down just to fulfill, you know, desirability or entertainment. They want it to have some sort of meaning behind it. Of course, there also comes the question of what forms should they take. Should they be a wooden church from New England? Should it be a cathedral? Should it be a Norse temple? You know, there's lots of different options like that. You know, this game isn't specifically set in our real world, so they might want to play around with it a little bit. So where the game is set is something we've largely left for the players to decide. We should have freedom while crafting our own town of the wilderness and watching the people get mauled by bears to imagine the details of the settings as they see fit. When it comes to religion, they're not sure that a church is necessarily the obvious answer. It could be interesting and allow for more creative player agency to explore a system where you get to choose deities who could confer different favors upon your town. That's kind of cool. So they're maybe thinking of having a slightly more involved religion system where you can choose arbitrary deities that don't fit any real world religion, or maybe even just one type of deity if you wanted a monotheistic culture instead of a polytheistic. It's kind of interesting. I really like the where they're going with this. Instead of it just being a building you plop down to fulfill a check mark, make it more interactive. I love that idea. Really, really cool. So production and storage management. This is a big one for me. This is a big one for me. So currently there are some limitations for resource management that they would like to address in future updates. Now, they're not saying this is coming with the next patch. This is stuff that they are acknowledging and looking at ways of fixing. So the big one is there is no method to transfer resources between storage. Now, that is a huge one. I would like to actually take all of my food out of my starting storage cart and put that into my root cellar. But I can't. It won't let me. Sometimes the AI decides to drop off stuff at the storage cart and I can't do anything with it. It's just going to sit there and spoil quickly because there's no barrels in it. You cannot manually transfer goods around. So they are looking into doing that. Finding some way to transfer the resources. It's an easy solution, actually. It's been done in games from this genre for many years, so I'm sure they will come out with a good solution fairly quickly. We would also like to set quotas. Again, that's another common thing with this genre where you can set your main drop-off for storage, if for logs, for example, stays at 100%, it stays full, but then you might have another stockyard, maybe on the outskirts of town, that you want to keep certain number of logs in for building, and so that storage building will go to the main storage building and keep a stock out of it. It's almost like almost like a market in a way, and then the storage buildings go and get what they need to maintain a quota within the stockyard or root cellar or whatever, to keep a certain amount of goods in. Really, really cool. I like that idea. Production limits is another thing. Again, this is something that I was really surprised the game didn't launch with. I'm thinking back to games like Banished, Life is Feudal, and other games like that, Surviving Mars and stuff. I think Surviving Mars does it. I forget. But where you can, like, say tools, for example. I only want my tool maker to make 50 tools. No more. Stop working once you have 50. If you drop down to 49, go make another tool. Keep 50 in stock. That's all you need to make. Right now, you have to manually turn on and off your buildings once you reach a point. Like the Fletcher. I checked the other day and I had like 900 arrows. I don't need 900 arrows right now. I had to manually turn him off. So adding in those production limits would be super, super useful. And finally, they are planning on adding a way to uncheck entire categories of resources. Again, that's a huge one. I hate having to go through my storage cart and having to uncheck every single little thing one at a time, which is normally why I don't, when then people deliver stuff to it and it doesn't go where it needs to go, and I rage. So, yeah, really good quality of life stuff coming with the storage management. Graveyard repositioning. Basically, they're going to give us a way to move graveyards. So that's another one that has been requested a lot. Hey, at my graveyard, I don't like where it's at anymore. I want to move it, and there's no way to move it. So they're going to add in a way to move graveyards. Very cool. Barns and cows. God, anyone who is listening to this video that is on the Farthest Frontier Discord knows that about at least 20 times a day, there's questions from new players. My cows aren't working. My people aren't slaughtering cows. They're not milking cows. My cows are stuck. Barns and cows are a problem right now. But they are trying to address a lot of those issues in 0.7.5. And they will continue to address any problems with those. Right now, things like slaughtering, milk production, cows stop generating new cows, no new babies are born. Upgrading to a tier 2 barn can actually break the entire thing. Relocating or rebuilding your barn can cause cows to vanish into the void. There's just a lot of issues with the barn right now. Basically, right now, if you're listening to this before 7.5 comes out, don't upgrade your barn to tier 2 and don't put fences around it. Just don't. Don't do either of those two things until they fix it. Just don't do it. It's bad. New decorations. Hey, you won me over right there. Look at this. Look at this. Look at these fences with hedges and this pergola. Oh, it's so awesome looking. I'm all about decorations in games, so can't wait to see more of that. And at the bottom, a few screenshots of some gorgeous towns some people have built, especially this first one right here with this tiered setup going. Oh, it's just so... love it. This one here too. Oh, they're so nice looking. So that's it for me, guys. Just a quick overview of some of the stuff coming in 0.7.5. I hope you are excited for some of these changes. If you have more suggestions of things that could be added or changed into the game, be sure to go to the official forums for Farthest Frontier and add those into the appropriate forums and everything else, and add your suggestions. The developers are always listening to feedback. They are very responsive, and let's all work together to make this game as awesome as it can be. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Take care.